Hello. Going to have a little chat about Brexit. I don't think we're going to be leaving the European Union as we expected. I believe it's going to be in name and nothing else. And what the government are doing is they're copying, basically change the name of existing things and rename them as they usually do, basically conning the public. The EU is not democratic, it's corrupt, and I think you'll find 17.4 million people in the UK who voted to leave the EU. The vast majority did so because they don't agree with the government's open door policies. People coming here from poorer EU countries to better themselves at our expense. What being part of Europe means is obviously free borders, and it's also about lowering the UK wages to an EU average. So we're all going to be worse off. The schools are going to be full up. We're going to have no houses, and we're going to have millions more people coming in the country. And as we've been told, because the government's, I have pointed this out to people, and I've seen two other people who have confirmed what I've said, and I'll repeat it again. The government has conned the public by triggering Article 50. No idea why they've done that. I did write to them at the time to ask why they've done that, and I got no reply. Triggering Article 50 gives the EU, it can dictate our leaving terms. Anything we come up with at the end of the day, once you trigger Article 50, anything that we come up with has to be agreed by all the other 27 countries in the EU, and if not, it will be rejected. So I think you'll find, as it's not democratic, and I don't think that our government wants to leave. I think they want to pretend they're leaving and do their free trade deals and bring back all the other things that we didn't want. But Labour, 17.4 million people voted to leave, and Jeremy Corbyn changed his mind. The minute he was made Labour leader, this is a guy 30-40 years been against the EU, then all of a sudden once he becomes leader he changes his mind, and he expects to get elected when like I say, 17.4 million people voted to leave. It seems like a suicide policy, to be honest, and Labour are as bad as the Conservatives when it comes to lying to the public. I went to a Labour Party meeting in Milton Keynes where I believe the lady's name is called Emily Thornberry, who is supposed to be an EU MP, turned up and told everybody who's there, when I say everybody, there was about, I would guesstimate probably about 30 or 40 members of the Labour Party, and probably just as many people from the council. So I don't know. I didn't really count, to be honest, but a few people there, 50 or 60 people, and she told everybody that she could hold the European Parliament to account herself. And everybody in the room, there's all the council people and all the people in the Labour Party, just all clapped like a load of sheep, one would assume, because they don't know any better. When all the idiots had finished clapping, as usual, I was the only one who put my hand up to ask a question. My question to Emily Thornberry was, why is she misleading everybody in the room when she cannot hold the European Parliament to account? Just lying to the public. And now we've got Jeremy Corbyn, who's run over to the EU, thinks he's going to be the next Prime Minister. God help us. I found the Labour Party, myself, especially in Milton Keynes, do not want anyone to question them. And if you do, they're quite happy to ignore you, and they'll go even further. They'll actually destroy your business, and they don't give a shit whether they throw you out in the street and you die. These people, there is nothing good, honest or honourable at all about the Labour Party in Milton Keynes or any of the other parties in Milton Keynes. I think they all work together. I think all of the parties in Westminster are all funded by the same people, Friends of Israel, And I think all of the local parties all work together in exactly the same way. The reason I've come to that conclusion is because I've written to a lot of the other councillors in Milton Keynes, and they don't reply for one or two reasons. One, because they've been told not to by Peter Marland, possibly because I've printed off 18 months of paperwork, letters backwards and forwards from the council, which confirms and shows what I've said is actually correct. It shows that Milton Keynes Council is actually an unlawful and an unreasonable council, and I'm waiting at the moment for the pro bono people to decide on whether they're going to sue Milton Keynes Council or not. At the end of the day, they've put me out of business and I have no income. So something needs to be done. But as for the Labour Party in Milton Keynes, it is completely unaccountable, as are all of our politicians. None of these people are accountable to anybody. You cannot make them accountable. There is nobody in the system. They're just. I think I would like. I hope one day people in this country realise that perhaps the political parties are the problem. And the reason I say that is because I believe, like I said, they're all funded by the same people. They all seem to have the same interests, i.e. none of them are interested in protecting children. They all seem to have a problem with paedophiles in their parties. I don't know if they attract or encourage paedophiles to join their parties because they're easy to blackmail, which seems to be how politics works in this country. I can't find anybody in any political party who's interested in changing the law, even though Mark Lancaster, my MP, even one of the House of Lords people, all the replies that I've had, I've put on my website for people to see. And these people just don't do anything. And if you try and pull them up on it and say, hang on a minute, you haven't done this, like I say, they'll ignore you. And they've got their own agenda. They do not represent the public. They do not listen to the public. And I think they are the problem. And I don't think that the UK has moved forward at all since the 2015 election. I think what's going to happen is that Labour will, when people realise what a fraudster Jeremy Corbyn is and how he likes to protect abusers in his party, and there's no difference in any way, shape or form between Labour and Conservative, I think the bloke's done. I think he's been badly advised, or he's just a foolish man who's had an opportunity to help everybody in this country, and he seems to be falling flat on his face. He's not a leader. He doesn't seem to have any idea what he should be doing, or I don't know why that is. Is he, like I say, I believe he's been badly advised, or he's been blackmailed by Tony Blair, possibly because of what went on in Islington with Diane Abbott apparently keeping quiet about paedophiles. They're all at it, it's rotten. And how you can trust the Labour Party when it's said before the election that that we'd be leaving the single market and the EU and all that sort of stuff, and now he's changed his mind. Well, I've got no interest in these people at all, because they're not good, honest, honourable people. They're not reasonable people. You can't raise issues with them if it's nothing they want to do. They're not interested in. Like I say, when it comes to child protection, they don't care. When it comes to the banks, right? So you've got all of the parties that don't care about protecting children, who are our future. You've got all of the parties who will do nothing about the banks, despite the fact that Mark Carney said that the bankers caused the crash. None of them, because they're complicit, getting paid by the bankers and go and work for the bankers like we see them do. Yeah, they're crooks, criminals at the end of the day. And these, what do you do with them? All the time people keep supporting these people, keep voting for them, then, as Einstein said, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And I think that's where we are. These like I say, these people do not care. The Labour Party in Milton Keynes is like a closed shop. And like I say, if anybody questions them, I wouldn't mind, but I wouldn't have mind if the Labour Party, what they're telling you is correct. But when what they're telling everybody in the room's wrong, well, I don't know, what do the Labour Party expect people to do? Just to repeat what they say, regardless whether it's right or wrong? Is that where we've got to now? That you can't question people even when they are wrong? And Jeremy Corbyn doesn't seem to have any idea how the European Union works, or if he does, I mean, I think he's just making himself look an arse, to be honest. And I'm certainly not voting Labour. I'm not voting Conservative. There is no one to vote for. That's the game. This is what I've said. They're all in it together. So it doesn't matter who you vote for. Labour, I don't believe they're not going to leave the EU, and neither the Conservatives. So you've got 17.4 million people in this country who voted for something that there is no one in the political system who's actually willing to comply, if you like, with the will of the British people. UKIP, I don't think they have any MPs anymore, none at all. A new leader that apparently is one of Farage's puppets. And other than that, who is there? There is no one. Conservatives, who Theresa May will do whatever she likes until I don't think, I think at the end of the day, the only way you're going to get rid of Theresa May is to throw her out. Because, she's not a good, honest, honourable or reasonable person, is she? She's destroying the country. She has no interest in the people in this country. She seems to be only interested in, global world policies and basically, selling everything off to their friends and everyone. Even in Milton Keynes, apparently Peter Marland, who's supposed to be the Labour Party leader, support the people and all that, which is a load of rubbish, utter lies. Labour don't do what they say; they do the opposite of what they say. But anyway, that idiot is on about getting a Chinese company to do a smart city in Milton Keynes and microwave everybody and kill everybody because he's stupid and he doesn't listen. And I tell you what, when people in Milton Keynes realise how stupid he is, he won't be elected anywhere doing anything. But until people in Milton Keynes realise what an idiot Peter Marland is and that he's a criminal, and he's not an honourable, reasonable person. He's not prepared to be accountable for anybody. He ignores the law. He's a complete and utter nightmare at the end of the day. And somebody, sooner or later, needs to do something about him. Apparently, Milton Keynes Council, according to the Prime Minister, is completely independent. It can do whatever it likes. Well, I'll tell you what they can't do. There is no law. There's no lawful reason for them to ignore the law, for one, or to ignore people's rights. Now, they've done both of those. They ignore your rights and they ignore the law. So as far as I'm concerned, they're criminals and they need to be held to account. But there is no one, the police will do nothing about any of the MPs. They don't. And this is what people need to realise, is how one-sided the system is. All these people stick together. They all protect each other. And that's what you're dealing with at the end of the day. We need to make these MPs, I just don't think there's any point voting for any Conservative, Labour MP. And like I say, UKIP don't have any. If people, I expect people in this country are gonna out of desperation. I said this some time ago, months ago, that I think I said just after Jeremy Corbyn got elected as leader, probably a month or so after that this country now seems to be getting to the same stage it was before Tony Blair got elected, where people are basically desperate. It's not that they want Jeremy Corbyn or they want Labour. We need things to change. And what we need is a leader who listens and who does the right thing. What we don't need is somebody who doesn't listen, who's got his own agenda and who's going to destroy the country. Labour do not have a long-term viable economic policy. They're going to bankrupt the country. They're going to basically jump in bed with the bankers, the same as the Conservatives. There is no difference. If people can't see, or they can't be honest with themselves, that the Labour Party and the Conservatives, there is no difference, then this country is going to be destroyed. And I think that's going to happen pretty quickly. I'm expecting the Conservative government to collapse shortly or to be thrown out. I don't think anything's going to be done this side of Christmas about Brexit. I think you'll be lucky if anything is done after Christmas, if it happens at all. I think that no one said anything, but I'm guessing that there'll be an election or something or other, or Theresa May leave, or there'll be a leadership election or some rubbish, and Brexit won't happen. And then they'll say, oh well, it's a different government now. We didn't agree to that. We need another vote. Whatever rubbish they come out with. But the fact is, we've already voted. We've already decided. So whatever these people say, They need to do what we tell them. They're public servants at the end of the day, and these people need to realise that. And if they're not prepared to be public servants, they're not prepared to listen and do what they're asked, then what is the point in voting for them? There is no point. All they're doing is lying to us and doing what they want. And until people accept that as a fact and vote for somebody different, I suggested in 2015 that people need to vote for independent MPs because the parties all seem to be corrupt. And I haven't changed my mind, unfortunately. I have spoken to the Labour Party. I've been writing to the Labour Party over the last 18 months. And no, I can't. They're just not interested in anything. They seem to have their own little gang of people that they'll support regardless of whether what they're doing or saying is right or wrong. And anybody else that dares to question them, even when they are right, they're not interested. It's not. It's a closed. It's a little closed shop of some sort, and they certainly don't. Like I say, they don't follow the rules. They don't apply the law to they're not. Like I say, they don't do what they're supposed to do. They want everybody else, the public at the end of the day, to be lawful, reasonable people, and they're not. They're complete and utter hypocrites who lie to us, who can't be trusted. So, they need to go. It's as simple as that. And I'm sorry, but I know there's a lot of people who think Labour or a lot of people seem to have faith in Jeremy Corbyn, but I think I just don't see it. After 18 months of writing to these people, and I'm not just talking 18 months. I've just done 18 months, but I've been writing to the government about various things for about 20 years. So I've got lots of experience of writing to these people. I'm not just talking out the top of my head. I can provide you with 20 years worth of documentation to confirm what I'm saying about many different things. But the problem is there is no one in local government who's interested and no one in central government who's interested, which is why nothing gets changed. And they just put their own people in. And I think that the people they put in, I think, are compromised at the end of the day. They're either kiddie fiddlers or they've got something on them. The whole system seems to be, when there is no accountability, you can't come up with any other conclusion other than it's corrupt. And I don't think that I know for a fact there is no accountability. Jeremy Corbyn is a joke. He's not interested in whether Milton Keynes Council is run legally or lawfully, or whether it's run reasonably, or whether people's rights are respected, or whether Peter Marlin is actually basically killing people. He doesn't care. Doesn't care at all. Doesn't care. And anyone who thinks he does, he's deluded. I'm sorry, you're deluded. He does not care. If he cared, he would listen and he would do the right thing. He doesn't even fucking reply. You're dreaming if you think that Labour is going to help or the Conservatives are going to help. Then somebody said a while ago, it's not going to happen. They're not going to help, and I don't think we're going to leave the EU. I'm expecting, like I say, possibly another election. I'm also expecting there's many people at the moment that are concerned about what the bankers have been doing over the last, blimey, it depends on how much you've been looking at, but I've been looking at what the bankers have been doing. I've got a little page on my website, it's an A to Z index. If you click on B, you'll see a link called Banks. If you click on that, you'll see I've been keeping an eye on them for a little while, and many people say that they're basically they're creating a collapse to bring in a new digital currency, which is why some countries are going over to digital currencies, and why I think it's just reached about $6,000, for this digital currency. The price of that's zooming up because people are and gold and silver. Everybody's buying that, but I think you'll find that the online currency is a trap, isn't it? Once that's what they want at the end of the day, so they've got total control over people. I think the public are being led by our politicians and the media. The media don't tell the truth, nor do our politicians, and I think they've got their own agenda. I think, and that is basically to enslave us all by bankrupting the country. Who knows whether it's some stupid deal with the EU and one of their crooked bankers, same sort of thing as Greece maybe. Perhaps that's what they've got in mind for us, really make us suffer, right? The country hasn't been destroyed enough yet for Theresa May and her gang. They want to see lots and lots and hundreds and hundreds of homeless people and dead people on the street, I think. And that, unfortunately, I think is what we're going to get if people don't get up off their arse and do something about it. Or they need to do something different. You can't keep voting for the same people who do not help, who do not listen, and who do not do the right thing. They've got none of the all of this regeneration that's going on. If you look into it, you'll hopefully understand it's actually about taking away people's rights and basically handing over our properties at the end of the day to private developers. You know, where you end up with no rights. Smaller properties that cost more money, which is going to cost the taxpayers more money, because anyone who's on a low income, 65% of people at the end of the day work, claim benefits. So 65% of people are all going to be charged more rent, which means, you know, if they're getting benefits, housing benefits, it's going to cost us all more money. So who's benefiting? The only people that are benefiting are the private property developers and the people in the council that are getting backhanders. What are they getting out of it? If the public are not benefiting out of it, why on earth are they doing it? And if the public's not benefiting out of it, they shouldn't be doing it. It's as simple as that. They don't ask us, they just tell us. And it's time we told them they're the public servants and they need to do as they're told. And until that happens, unfortunately, I think they will just carry on doing as they want. Because, like I say, they're not good, honest, honourable people. They'll just say anything to shut you up and then carry on doing what they're doing. These people need to be told. And if they don't do as they're asked, they need to be removed. It's as simple as that. And all of this crap about MPs being MPs for 4 or 5 years and not being accountable to anybody, that must change. Because Peter Marland, for one, you know, like I said, if once people know the truth about him, he won't get elected doing anything because he's not a nice man. He's not a reasonable man. He's just got his own agenda. And it's not an open, it's not a democratic, it's not an honest party. There's nothing good about it at all, and it all boils down to him, yeah. And until you can get somebody else leading the party who's actually going to listen to people and actually represent people rather than doing what they want, I think we're buggered. I really do. That's sadly my prediction is I don't think we've got a hope in hell unless people wake up, and I really do not see that happening. I don't, unfortunately, but anyway, we'll see.